This time, let's try to find common percentages. Observe closely. 50%. Remember, 50%? It's easy. You know it that this is just simply half, equivalent to half. How about 25? Say for example, 50% of 24. What do you think would this be? How about 25%? 25%, for those who are familiar with it, you know the equivalent fraction of this one. But for those who don't, you can convert this into a fraction. 25 over 100, this just gives you 1/4. So all you have to do is to divide the number by 4, and then you'll get 25%. Like 25% of 40. Lastly, 75%. 75%, for those again who are familiar, it's just simply 1/4 times 3, because 75% is 3 times 25%. So you get 1/4 first, divide by 4 first, then multiply by 3. Okay, let's try to apply this. 50% of 24, meaning half of 24, that's 12. 25% of 40, remember 25% is just 1/4. Divide by 4 first. So 40 divided by 4 is, very good, 10. And 75% is just 3/4, or simply get 1/4 first, then multiply by 3. So 75% of 8 will just be 8 divided by 4 gives you 2, and later multiply by 3, because 75% is 3 times the 25%. Then this gives us 6. So these are common percentages. All right, let's apply. 25% of 32. Remember, 25% is 1/4. So just simply divide by 4. This gives us 8. 75% of 16. This is 3/4. Divide by 1/4 first, or divide by 4 rather first, then multiply by 3. So divide by 4, this is 4 times 3 gives you 12. 50% of 150, meaning half of it, it's 75. 75% of 120, again the technique, if it's 75%, get 1/4 first, divide by 4, 30, then multiply by 3, 90. And 25% of 500, just divide it by 4, because 25% is 1/4. Therefore, this gives you 125. And those are the common percentages. There are also other common percentages such as 10%, which is equal to 10 over 100, if you remember percent, which will just be 1 over 10. And remember, when we divide by 10, dividing makes the value lesser. Remember, dividing makes the value lesser. Therefore, this is just moving the decimal left or right. If it's lesser, left. Okay? Lesser, left. So we move the decimal to the left. How many space? 1, because we have 1 0. Example, 10% of 90. We know that 90 can be written as 90.0. So we just move the decimal to the left 1 space, because we only have 1 0 for the 10. So this becomes 9. All right. 10% of 65. Remember, this is 65.0. Move it to the left 1 space. This becomes 6.5. 1%. 1%, meaning 1 per 100. All right. It's just dividing by 100. Similar to the 10, it becomes the value smaller, and it's just simply moving. Since we divide, it's lesser, left. We move it to the left. This time, 2 places. So if it's 1%, we move the decimal 2 places to the left. 1% of 70. 70 is 70.0. Since it's 1%, we move it to the left 2 times. So the decimal is now to the left of 7. This is now 0.7. Remember, if there's nothing to the left of the decimal point, add 0. 1% of 400, this is 400.0. Move the decimal 2 places to the left. 1, 2. Therefore, this becomes 4. Okay, and these are also common percentages. 1% of 253. Move the decimal places to the left. 1, 2. This becomes 2.53. All right. And that's the end of the part 4. This is now the last part 5. Finding other percentages. So how do you find 70% of 60? Recall your PYP days. How were you taught about this? Maybe your teacher has taught you to get 70% of 60, you have to convert 70% into a decimal. So remember how to convert. 70% will just be 0.7. So 70% of 60 is 0.7 times 60, which gives you 42. This method is correct. It's very good. It's the right way to get percentages of any number. We just have to multiply the decimal or the fraction equivalent of the percentage to the given number. Just like this, 0.7 is the decimal equivalent of 70% times 60 equal to 42. However, some students might not be comfortable multiplying a decimal with another number. That is why there is another method of getting 70% or getting percentages without doing this method. And that is to break 70% into different parts. So when we say break it, we can find its composition using different operations. So you can use addition, you can use subtraction, multiplication, and division. That means there are many possible ways of getting into 70%. One of which is using easy to find percentages, just like what we did a while ago. Percentages 50, 25, 75, 10, and 1. Because these 5 percentages are easy to find. So find a way to get into 70% using these percentages. You may use multiplication, division, if possible, addition, and subtraction. So try to think first. How can I get 70 using these easy to find percentages? So one method would be 70% is equal to 50% plus 10% plus 10%, or 50% plus 2 times 10%. Now, since 50% is easy to find and 10% also is easy to find, then it's a lot easier to do it mentally rather than to multiply the decimal equivalent, that with 60. So 50% of what? Of 60 still, not of 70. 50% of 60, so we're breaking 70% into 50 and 10%. 50% of 60, 50 means half. This becomes 30. Then plus 2 times 10%. Remember 10%? Moving the decimal to the left one space. Because it's 10%, it's 1 over 10. So this becomes 6. So 30 plus 2 times 6. And what is 2 times 6? That's 12 plus 30, 42. See, we're reaching the same number, the same answer, 42. Okay? Aside from this, there's also another way of writing 70%. And that's another way, and that's 7 times 10%. Remember, 7 times 10 is 70? Therefore, I can get 10% and multiply it by 7. That's another way. A while ago, we found out that 10% is 6. So that's 7 times 6, 42. Still the same number. Okay? Or another way to get 70%, it's 75% minus 5%. Okay? Now, 5% is not part of this. True. But take note, 5% is just half of 10%. Therefore, once we get 10%, we can get half of it, and that's 5%. So 75%, that's 3/4. Remember the process? Get 1/4 first, divide by 4 first, then multiply by 3. So get 1/4 of this, divide by 4. This is 15 times 3, 45. So therefore, 75% is 45. And then for 5%, half of 10%, meaning half of 6 is 3. So this will be 45, this will be 3. So that's 45 minus 3, which will give us 42. So in this case, there are many possible answers, and I cannot list all of them. So I will leave to you on how to reach how to break rather the certain percentage using easy to find percentages, of course, using also operations plus, minus, times, and divide. Let's practice further. 15% of 20. What's the traditional way? That will be 0.15 times 20, right? But instead of doing that, let's try to break 15% into easy to find percentages. Can you think of some? One way is 10% plus 5%. Remember 10%? You just have to move to the decimal place to the left, one space. So 10% is 2. And 5% is half of 10%. So half of 2 is 1. Therefore, 10% is 2, 5% is 1. And this will just give us 3. So 15% of 20 then is equal to 3. Now, another thing, aside from 10% plus 5%, what could be another way? It could also be 25% minus 10%. But I know some of you might be thinking 5% times 3, which is still correct. So how about if we do 25% minus 10%? Because different people would look at it differently. So 25%, remember, is just 1/4. So we divide this by 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5. So 25% is 5. 10% we already got it a while ago, which is 2. So this is now 5 minus 2, which still gives us 3. See, it would still be the same for as long as you break the percentages properly. Alright, let's have another example. 65% of 120. So you don't have to be afraid anymore because we can break percentages into easy to find percentages. So instead of 65%, think of a way to break this into 50, 25, 75, 10, or 1. So we can say 50 plus 10 plus 5, and that gives us 65. 50 is easy to find. It's just half of 120. And what's half of 120? Very good, it's 60. For 10%, it's moving the decimal to the left one space, that's 12. And 5% is half of 10, meaning half of 12 is 6. Again, recall 50% is 60, 10 is 12, 5 is 6. So this will be 60 plus 12 plus 6. And adding all of them gives you 78. And that's 65% of 120. Now, what could be another way of writing 65%? Yep, it could be 5% times 13. Or it could be 75 minus 10. So 75% is dividing this by 4 and then multiplying by 3. Because 75% is 3/4. So divide by 4 first. 120 divided by 4 is 30. Then multiply by 3, that's 90. Alright? And 10% we got already a while ago that it's 12. Therefore, this will just be 90 minus 12. And 90 minus 12 is 78. See, the answers will just be the same. And I think that's all for this lesson. Please do the necessary worksheets and further instructions will be given in class.